James Faulkner Kirkup was a British poet, travel writer, translator and playwright. His first volume of poetry, The Drowned Sailor, was published in 1947. Thereafter he wrote profusely in English metrical form before switching to Japanese poetic forms like haiku. He was a noted translator of Japanese poetry. He was also a well-known travel writer. In 1950, he was awarded the Atlantic Award for Literature by the Rockefeller Foundation. He became a Fellow of the Royal Society of Literature in 1962. In 1992, he won the Scott Moncrieff Prize for Translation. In No Men Are Foreign, James Kirkup shows different ways in which men are similar. In doing so, he highlights the importance of equality and brotherhood in the poem. Here is the summary of the poem No Men Are Foreign by James Kirkup. In the poem, James Kirkup emphasizes on the theme of equality between men from all parts of the earth. Through several stanzas in the poem, he fosters the image of humankind united by their similarities. In the first stanza, he states how all men share the same earth and the same body. So in this stanza, he asks the reader to remember that no man is different, nor the countries they inhabit unfamiliar. Kirkup then uses the words uniforms to depict different castes, cultures, religion and color that men might belong to. However, he asks them to remember that under different uniforms, they all share the same body and the same earth. Kirkup, in the second stanza, continues with this theme by stating that all men share the same sun, air, and water. They all find sustenance from the crops they grow and starve equally after a long war. Also, Kirkup notes, if you look closely, you will find the same lines of labor on hands that look the same. Kirkup continues listing similarities between men in the third stanza by saying that all men share the same eyes and sleeping habits. They also share the same strength and the same emotions. He concludes this stanza by saying that one will always find men living the same life in every corner of the earth. So, Kirkup asks the readers to remember all these similarities when they are told to hate their brothers. In such a scenario, Kirkup states that it is not a stranger that we betray or hate when we fight them. Instead, since we are the same, it is we who betray ourselves. Kirkup believes that all men are the same, so when one man fights against another, he is fighting against himself. Then, he states that when we spread hatred among ourselves and choose to treat someone differently, we do not just degrade ourselves, but also the earth. Our wars pollute the air that we all share. Kirkup now comes full circle when he repeats the first line. This line re-emphasizes the overall theme of equality. Kirkup also uses the line to give a final reminder to his readers to always remember that they are part of a global brotherhood where, despite differences, everyone is the same. Now let us look at the literary elements of the poem. In the poem, the line, "The land our brother walk upon is earth like this," is an example of simile. A simile, through comparison, shows the similarities between two different objects. Kirkup uses simile to show the similarity between men from different places. An enjambment is a form of poetic device where a line goes over to the next line without any punctuation. The line, "Remember we who take arms against each other, it is the human earth that we defile," is an example of enjambment. James Kirkup repeats the word remember throughout the poem. He uses this strategy to constantly remind the reader of the similarity between men and that they inhabit the same earth. Refrain is a poetic device where a poet repeats one line in a poem to emphasize on the musical quality of the poem. The line, "Remember, "No men are strange, no countries foreign" is used in the first and last line in the poem. By repeating this line, Kirkup provides a symmetry to the poem. He also reminds the reader of the importance of equality among men. This poem has no rhyme scheme, since it is written in free verse.